Hey there, quick win fail review on the Kershaw Injection 3.0. Let's go into the basic specs of the knife, and then I'll talk about what I like, what I'm not too bothered about, and then what I don't like about the knife. Stay with me. So basic specs, the Injection 3.0, as you may suspect, has a 3.0 inch long blade, has a 4.5 inch long handle. It's made of 8CR13 MOV steel on the blade. Handle is a G10, which is machined. Quite a nice finish on the G10 there. It's got some little design details in there that I'll go on about in the later features. It's got some design details in the back, which I'll also speak about. It's got a two-way reversible pocket clip, and it runs on a liner lock, which is the full unmilled liners. Liner lock springs open, bronze. So the specs of the Kershaw weighs 3.4 ounces, 3.5 ounces sometimes, depending on my scales. It's got a 3-inch blade, that's what the 3.0 denotes. Opens on thumb studs, on bronze phosphor washers. Has G10 handles, which are about 4.5 inches long. Total length of the knife's 7.5 inches or so when it is open. Has tip-up pocket carry on the left or right hand side, and it rolls on unmilled full stainless liners, and it is a liner lock. The knife is designed by a pretty high regarded custom knife maker called Todd Rexford. He's also designed a knife for Zero Tolerance, Kershaw's sister company, the 0801 I believe. His knives have pretty distinct looks to them, very much the pivot and these grooves details in the handle, definitely Rexford inspired little flourishes and motifs there. Purpose of this knife here, which I sort of pick due to its choices in design, steel, lock, that's the thing, everyday carry. So just a knife to carry with you every day for the occasional tasks that you use a knife for, those little save the day kind of jobs. What I like about the knife, I like the full flat ground blade, and I like the general blade shape. Very, very good mix of flat here, belly here, reasonable tip, drop point, really good nice profile on that. I also like the pretty general, generic lack of jazz on the handle. It's quite good. It's very simple, you just grab onto it and hold it. It's not the most comfortable knife in the world, but it's not the most uncomfortable knife in the world. It's just a knife handle which won't bother you too much just using it for occasional cuts. There's no jimping or anything cut into the knife anywhere, so it is just this forward finger choil kind of area holding your hand in place, which hasn't been a problem for me in any of the cuts that I have made with the blade. I like a couple of the design flourishes. I really like these liners at the back there. Let's zoom in on them. They've gone for that floating, it's on a custom knife, these would generally be carbon fibre, but they've gone for the same effect, these floating G10 little notches on the back there. It's kind of cool. Like, you don't see that in a lot of the knives, so usually it'd be some more exotic material, but in this case I like this sort of little chamfered G10 backspacer. Good looking anyway, so I do like that, as well as the blade shape and the handle. I liked the price that I paid for it. I paid 35 Australian dollars for it, which I think was a really good price. I like the thumb studs. They fire out really well, and accompanying those thumb studs is really swift deployment on a good D10. So that's good. It's like a Ontario Rat 1 level of really flying out of that handle. Almost feels assisted. With knives like this, I don't see why there is still assisted knives getting around out there. I don't know why you would limit the countries you can sell your knife in by having assisted only versions of knives, when that, you don't need your knife to open any quicker than that. It's really, really good action. Really, really good. I'm neutral on these aspects of the handle. I don't like that as much. It's just a bit, I don't know, just a bit busy. It's not my cup of tea, having cutouts and handles. Underneath you can see the steel liners, which, I don't know, doesn't really impress me that much. The pivot, a little bit big and jazzy for me as well. It's just a purely personal taste thing, so just putting these as a neutral thing, because I'm just not that fond of them. My personal taste doesn't affect the functionality of the knife at all. I'm neutral on the pocket clip. I don't mind it. It's it's a bit of a stiff one, a bit hard to get over the pocket. It'll probably loosen up, it's just sprung steel, so we'll probably get better over time, but then again, knives like this, of this price range, you tend to sort of buy them, carry them for a little bit, or just carry them very occasionally. This I wouldn't recommend for reasons I guess I'll go into later, as just being your only knife. But yeah, the pocket clip will eventually break in with time, but just not super flash on it either way. I'm not hot on it, not cold on it, it just is what it is. Things I don't like about the knife. I don't like 8CR13 MOV for many applications at all, really. It's just the whole, it doesn't really do well at anything. It takes a sharp edge, but I mean, all but the really average 400 series just take a sharp edge. It doesn't hold it for very long, and it also rusts really easily. And this bead blasting that Kershaw does with their 8CR13, this will get rust spots easily. For you get a couple of drops of water on it, don't wipe them off or forget it. Have your kids splash the kitchen bench with water or something, get a bit of water inside the closed knife. This has happened to me. You'll open it in a couple of days' time and there'll be stains on it. It's a really bad way to finish a steel that is not naturally as stainless as you would like, and I would really rather they didn't. Kershaw does so many of these, and this is kind of the next point. It's made of, it's a well-made knife, and it's got its own uniqueness to it, but Kershaw makes so many of these black G10 handle 8CR13 MOV knives in that $40 to $50 price range. It's just so boring by now. They've done all they can. They've used a pretty well-established Rexford design, but then they just drab it down with those features, and I just don't get it. I wish they wouldn't. Why not just have it with a nice blue handle, or have it with a nice shiny blade? The bones are good here. It's just so dull. It's just so Kershaw. It's just you can see before you see this in their catalogue, and if you didn't know what it was, you'd be like, oh, that's a budget Kershaw 8CR13 MOV G10 or FRN, $35. You just know already, don't you? And it just keeps that that pattern going. But apart from that, it's a good user. It's good to use for your occasional cuts if you can handle the steel and you can take care of the steel. Fun to play with. It's got a few good EDC attributes to it. It feels a little bit blocky in the hand. You'll double check the weight, but the weight is 3.5 ounces. So that's just a little bit less than a paramilitary 2. Probably about an ounce more than a Delica. I prefer around the 3 ounce mark. For 3 ounces here, you get a Benchmade 940, which I think can do a lot more and is a lot nicer of a knife. 2.4 ounces, so about an ounce and a bit less, you can get a Spyderco Delica, which is, having a look at some comparison blades, about the same size, about the same capability, and everything else about it is, really you could probably do the same jobs, situation to situation with both these blades. I'd still get a Delica over this, just because the Delica seems to be a little bit better constructed. This has a few rough transitions as well, just from G10 to liner, that sort of thing, and just less my cup of tea than this. So that's probably all the bad I could sum up about this knife. But my final thoughts are that it's a good one. It's a good one if you want to get someone a knife that you're not sure if they're going to like it or never use it. You're not going to have sunk too much money into it, but it's going to perform pretty well for them, just from time to time. And it's probably going to need sharpening and need a bit more care if they don't take care of it or if they use a lot. But the things you get for a $35 knife are pretty good. Just a note though, the retail price of this in Australia seems to be about $70. I got mine from Aussie Knives for $35, and that is about the price that I want to pay. 35 to 40 Australian. I'd pretty happily pay that for this knife, and I'd be pretty happy with that. It's just a shame they don't do knives like this, with the G10 handles, even in just still ingot steel, like 154 cm, something like that. It just be a bit nicer. They just need to really phase out that 8CR13. It's just getting a bit long in the tooth. You can do a lot better these days. Anyway, thanks for watching my review, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.